Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here for another forestry test. So if you remember, my last test I did was to test how long it took each tree to grow. You can check that test out on my channel. If I remember, I'll put a card up on the screen right now, but I probably will forget. So anyhow, now I want to see, well, which one of these can be harvested with a forestry harvester. Most of these will be a no-go for the forestry harvesters, but there's technically 5 forestry harvesters in base game. Technically 5. I'm only going to test 4, and I'll explain why. Yeah, or maybe 6. There's 6, maybe 6. Technically, there's 6. But I'm only gonna test 4. So obviously, I'm gonna test all 3 of these. The main differences is the width of how big of a tree they can handle. This one can do 58 centimeters. This one can do 70 centimeters, and this one can do 120. So I'm going to test those 3. Then we go to the excavators. Well, one of the excavator tools is this guy. It can only do 55, so I'm not going to test it because it's very close to the 58, and I don't think it's really needed. And then out of these guys, if you can go in here, you can contribute or configure them to have the fast processor here. This one you also can do the harvester head here. So if you look down here, this one does 70 centimeters. We're already testing one that does 70 centimeters, so it'll apply the same to this. And then this one does 81 centimeters, which is a little bit different compared to the other ones. So it's kind of an in-between that guy right there and the big one here. So that's why I'm doing this one, is it's a good in-between. So those are the 4. So all I'm going to do is I'm literally going to, I know some of these are going to be stupid. I'm going to go up to every single tree. I'm going to turn on the tree saw here. It's going to not let me do anything. Perfect. Excellent. Now, the only problem with this one, and actually I might test this one last because of this. It will not tell me if I can't do it or not beforehand. But if I do this one, let's get this guy ready. B to turn it on. There we go. Yep, can't do that one. I don't believe it should give me like a message that yeah, I think the red is the message that it's not going to work for this tree. You can see, yeah, it's not gonna do it. I mean, it has all the weird limbs, so we kind of know it's not going to work anyways. This next one, it might actually work fine. Yep, see, that one will work fine. So if it does that, so that'll be a yes there. So far for this guy, it's a, I'm gonna write this down, no, yes. So this is basically what I'm gonna do. It's gonna take me a while. This one should be a yes as well. Yep, that's a yes there. This one's gonna be a no. There's a no right there. So another yes and another no. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run through all of the different harvesters, and then we have another no. And then if we, yeah, it's gonna be pretty straightforward. Some will be a little bit more difficult. That's another no there. That's a no, as we can imagine. This one's also a no. Yep. No. No. This one should be yes up here. Yes, beautiful. This is definitely a no. Yes. And we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, if I'm not mistaken. So we should have 6 more, 3, 4, we have 5 more. Uh-oh, I might have missed one. I'm going to have to redo it a little bit. But anyhow, you get the idea. You get what we're trying to do here. This guy is going to be able to get some bigger ones. Now, actually, I don't honestly think, because the main reason we had this one was to do like the Ponderosa Pines. I think this is going to have the same results as the other ones. The only one that I possibly see some not working with is the John Deere might not be able to get some of the ones that the other ones can get. But in general, they should all get it. And then this one again, too, when I get close, it should give me an indicator of red there. The John Deere just does it, so that's kind of the only challenge with that. Now let's turn this guy on. This one should also give me a red indicator if I get close. Tell me no. Maybe not. Oh, yep, there it is. Okay, just had to get a little bit closer. So yeah, you get the idea. I'm going to go ahead and run a test. I'll see which one of these can be cut, which one can't be cut, and then we can kind of look at the growth time as well, so you kind of can get an idea for what kind of the best tree is for forestry. So we'll take a look at all that here in a second. So I'll see you guys here shortly. All right, the test is complete. Some interesting results, actually, and I mean, not too like crazy surprising, but as you can see, I did bring this guy back out. The John Deere's over somewhere, but anyhow, I did actually end up getting this guy with the small coupler, even though I said I wasn't going to do it. And I'll explain why I did it here in a second, because it is different, and it does actually matter quite a bit here. If you think about the John Deere, the reason I was worried I couldn't compare this to the John Deere is the John Deere can just kind of cut whatever, and it was cutting some of the weird trees because they would fit on there. And so I thought, well, either this is going to be similar design to the John Deere, or it's going to be similar design to kind of like a wood harvester header where it will automatically kind of read the trees. And it's kind of a hybrid of both, which gave some kind of interesting results. So this can cut a couple of the weird trees, even though when you drive by the weird trees, like for example, if I was to pull up to this apple tree, which I just cut with this thing, it would say red. It would have a red circle around it. But if you actually just kind of override it and force it to cut it, you can do that just by going up to it, pushing this up against the apple tree, and then hitting the button for cut, and it'll do it. So this thing, you can kind of override it on a couple of the different trees, which is kind of cool. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's take a look. I made, of course, a spreadsheet as is tradition. And actually, what you guys just saw was a little bit of a zoomed in version of the game. I just realized now, but it actually should be fine because I have just the way I have it set up with my computer. So I apologize, you guys saw a little zoomed in version, but I'm not going to re-record it because that'd be too much work. So anyhow, you can see here, I have the excavator attachment, which is the one I added on. And this is in order of smallest to largest in terms of the tree width. So this one does like 54 centimeters. This one does like 58. This is 70. This is 81. And this is like 120. So you can see some basic stuff like none can cut the American elm. All of them can cut the aspen. All can cut the beech. But those ones aren't very big trees anyways. None of them can cut the betula or the box elder. The cherry tree, which is a weird shaped one, can be cut by the John Deere. And then the Chinese elm, nothing can cut. Then we get to the downy serviceberry. The John Deere can definitely cut it. The excavator says no, it can't. But then when you override it, you can force it. That's why I put that yellow. So you can cut it, but it just doesn't say that you can. Then Golden Rain and the Japan Zelkova, none of those can be cut there. If I scroll over maybe a little bit more here, then we have lodgepole pine, which interestingly could not be cut by the smallest attachment. So the small attacher for the excavator couldn't cut it, but everything else could. And then nothing could cut the North Catalpa. The Scotch pine could, however, be cut by all of them, including the small excavator attachment. And then we have the Manchurian red pine, which is a huge tree. It can be cut with the Impex. Excuse me, the Impex, the massive one. It can be cut with that, as opposed to nothing else can cut it. Then nothing can cut the oak, the shagbark, or the tilia. And then the apple tree, the small attacher says, like I explained, says it can't do it, but it actually will if you override it. And then, of course, the John Deere can do it. So kind of some interesting results. And, of course, you have on the same thing, you have the height at the tree when it's the final growth state, and then how long it takes for each of these trees to grow. All that data is in here for my tree growth test. Yeah, and if we go over here, I would say probably the best, depending on what you have. Obviously, if you have the excavator attachment there, this is not the best tree for you. But overall, the lodgepole pine is the best because it only takes 40 months to grow. It's 36 meters long. The Scotch pine can be cut by everything, but for it to get to 39.6 meters, it's 121 months. So in that same amount of time, unless the Scotch pine wood is worth 4 times as much money, which I don't think is the case, then lodgepole pines are worth it because you can grow 3 fully grown lodgepole pines in the same amount of time it takes you to grow 1 fully grown Scotch pine. So just be aware of that. Now, I haven't tested the value of the Manchurian pine. It is a thicker tree. However, it's not very tall, only 25.7 meters tall. And it does take 121 months to grow it, so just be aware of that. But yeah, so that's what I got. A good little test, I think. Hopefully that was some important information for you guys, helped you out. If you guys did like this video, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel and turn your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.